For some reason, it's just not allowing me. Okay. All right.
Oh, not a problem. I can still make this work and it'll be a good time. And I thank you very much for taking the time to do this. We got to talk back in 2018 for that huge box set that you were able to put out. And it's great to be able to talk to you about some brand new material that's coming out 2 weeks from today.
Nice to speak with you. Happy to be here.
Oh, awesome. Well, along with that, I've gotten the chance to be able to check out the new album quite a bit of time now, and I really enjoy what's going on here. I love how with every subsequent album, it feels like it's becoming more bombastic. You're spreading your wings more and more with every release, and just showing more of your creative side, and that definitely shows throughout this new album. I love everything that's going along with it.
Thanks, Josh. I really, really appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, for sure. So, thinking about that, how was the songwriting process for this album?
It's the same as it always is. Either I am sitting at my piano and I'm jamming away, and something strikes my fancy, and I say, okay, I like that. Remember that. Put that on tape, and then develop it. Hello? Are we
Oh,
still
I'm
there?
still here.
Okay, 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 cool. Uh, yeah. Or other days, I'm like wandering around doing something that has nothing to do with music, and I'll get an idea for a lyric, and then I'll again run to the notebook or run to the piano because sometimes there'll be a melody streaming through as well. Other days, I'm sitting there and it all arrives at once. Maybe an idea for a title, the lyric, first verse, and the music, and then the real challenge after that is developing the song into something that makes sense and musical sense and uh, verbal sense as well. I want the lyrics and everything to meet and be one.
Yeah, and I can imagine how much that really goes into it too. And the more that I listen to this particular album, it's like I can really hear that about like how you want the riffs to all fit together, the arrangement styles, fitting lyrically, everything going on. It feels like it's quite a feat, but the final product is really something to behold with that because it flows together so perfectly.
Thanks, man. I truly appreciate that. It's yeah, I started writing. I think most of the music was first with general ideas about what the lyrics might be and some snatches of lyrics, as always, titles and whatnot. And then I got more and more into each song and started building more and more. Okay, I said, okay, where am I going to go with the story, with the lyric? And sometimes the songs got musically longer and longer. Sometimes because the lyrics led the way, other times the music led the way. It's always a little different with each song. I don't set out to say, okay, I'm going to write a song that's going to be 12 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever. It is what it is. And for example, the shortest song on the record, Black Earth and Blood, that's probably the shortest song Virgil ever done. It was done. It was complete. I didn't need to add anything else. I said what I wanted to say within those 2 minutes and 24 seconds, I think it is. Whereas the Ritual of Descent is probably our longest song thus far. And I was, working on it, going, oh yeah, wow. I noticed that looking at the length, it's pretty darn long. But then when I listened back, and I said, okay, if I'm listening back to this really long thing, but it only feels like 3 or 4 minutes have gone by, then I know I'm on the right road. So stay with it, go with it. If it was boring me, then I'd say, all right, where's the scissor? Cut something out.
Yeah, and again, that shows the diversity and creativity that goes behind it because on the same album, you can have the shortest and longest song that Virgin Steel has done the dates. And that's just so cool to see that every song has that wherewithal to know like how long it should be, how short it should be, and just putting what needs to be in the song.
Yeah, I'm very aware of structure and organizing the architecture of the works, if you will, and I'm always aware of like what it is that what portrait I'm painting emotionally, and is it all there? Does it need to go another minute for this area or whatever? So I'm always aware of those sorts of things, and that's another thing that further or aids and abets the development of a track along the way.
So thinking about that, like once you finally got done with the creative process behind it, like how did it sound to you when you finally heard the final product?
Oh, I heard the Piranha Project a lot because I spend spent a lot of times mixing the record. That's always the longest thing on every Virgin Steel record because I'm never satisfied with the mix. I'm always, it's like I hear it one way in my head, and then I'm trying to bring that out into daylight and nightlife. Nightlife is the real trick. And so if it's not sounding right to me, then I'm relentless. I just keep going back in, go back and try something else, try different mastering, try, go back and, mess with the mix a little more. But before we even get to that, what I do is I will sketch out every song with just the piano and a guide vocal. And that's when I really know exactly. I mean, I'll do that on like cassette, just sitting there as well. But then I bring it into the studio and I'll do it, with a much more decent piano sound. And I listen back and say, okay, yeah, the arrangement's working, or it's not. Tweak it still further, and then I start building. And then I'll bring in Edward, and I sit with him and I teach him all the songs, and then he records, and and once his tracks are done, I build back up from there. And I start doing all the vocals and whatnot. Usually, the last thing that we do is the uh, drums and whatever like other orchestration that goes on at the end.
And thinking about that in particular, the drums really struck me on this album. I really love the presentation of it, where sometimes it feels like it's some of the fastest double bass that's been in Virgin Steel to date, and other times it hits that great four to the floor style playing. I really love the creativity of the drum sounds.
Oh, great! Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I spent a lot of time with those sounds trying to get them to sound, you know, um, to sound as fat as they can be, but without getting in the way of the other instruments and whatnot. It's always it's a real balancing act when there's so many things going on, because there's a lot of vocals. I said to myself when I was doing this, okay, I said I'm gonna treat this record like Ozzy Osbourne would. I'll do just a couple of vocals and that's it. But it didn't happen that way, because as I start doing stuff, I said, oh, let me put a harmony there, and then well, I got to put the note around that. Oh, I need the other note as well, and before you know it, I'm in like queen mode doing all that kind of stuff. So it grew and grew on that end as I was doing it.
Oh, that's so cool. And of course, another huge note on this album that really struck me is your vocal ability on this album. It feels like you really pushed yourself on this album. Like I can hear you hitting those high octaves, and it just fits so perfectly with the music.
Thanks, hey brother. I approach every record like and every song like it's going to be my last will and testament. It's the last thing I'll ever sing. But on this record, the lyrics and the subject matter and the general emotion of everything, I think, required even more violence from my throat. So I just went for it without any regard for life or limb, and just, tried to put it all out there because the music warranted that.
Oh, definitely so. And the more that I listen to the album, the more that I really feel that, especially with the lyrical content and the themes that are going on throughout the whole concept. Where did this idea come from to be able to put pen to paper on this one?
The idea of Dionysus has been with me for a long, long time. He's one of these characters that I always enjoyed and kind of intrigued by. I like the idea of a dying, resurrecting God man who is, is half human, half divine, gets ripped apart by both his enemies and by his most faithful, ardent followers. And in other myths, he's hung on the tree, and all the stories of Dionysus are relevant to today as well. So what I did was on this record I synthesized all the ideas of the various dying, resurrecting God men, people, from Osiris to Adonis to Mithra to Dionysus. Obviously, Jesus is in there because he's the last in line, to quote Ronnie James Dio, of these dying, resurrecting God people. So it's all, I touch a little bit upon all of that. But that being said, the record deals with this idea of opposites, duality, where one thing on the surface looks like it has one meaning, but it also has got its polar opposite simultaneously. So there's that idea, and there's the idea of what Dionysus brings is he brings freedom, with the wine and whatnot. He brings catharsis, religious ecstasy. But on the other side, he's a dangerous god. One drink too much and you can become murderous. And his followers sometimes, spilled over into that side. So that's what I'm exploring. But getting back to how it relates to now in the world today, There's this idea of freedom, restraint, control, release, and is there room in our society for the irrational, the wild side? And my conclusion is that yes, it's most necessary, and science does agree with me, because science says that even rats need escape from absolute reality. Well, if they do, certainly we do, especially now in this environment we're living in now. And I'm a great, great believer in freedom, personal freedom, and with freedom comes great responsibility. So all these sorts of things are explored within the record, but within that fact of everything that I just said to you, there's also something else that's going on. There's like another tale underlying it all as well, and that's for the listeners to work out.
And yeah, I'm definitely dissecting that the more that I listen to the album, and it's just great to see that freedom portrayed throughout the album, and of course musically as well too. That's one thing I've always appreciated about Virgin Steel is the freedom of writing what you want to write. Like every single song feels like it's what you want to create. It's the creation that you want, and it's great to see that that freedom is still going on today.
Oh, thanks for noticing that. Yes, that is very true. We are very much our own men, and we want to do what we want to do when we want to do it. We've never been keen on being super, super famous, or the flavor of the month, or racking up the most likes and clicks and whatnot. We just do what we do because it's a way of life. It's especially for me. It is my reason for getting up in the morning and writing. Writing songs, writing lyrics, writing music. That's what fuels me and keeps me more grounded. Otherwise, I might be floating above the earth somewhere.
Uh, Totally understandable, but I love that though, that like I said, that it's continuing on to this day. And the more that I listen to it, just like being able to explore all these different territories. I mean, of course, having that core sound of what Virgin Steel is all about, but not being afraid to more heavy metal, more progressive, more power metal, more straight rock or metal, whatever you're feeling at the time and whatever the song calls for, you are playing it. And it's just so cool to see that continuing on.
Yeah, and we shall continue that way. Sometimes you're not in the same mood every day. You don't eat the same food every day. At least I don't. So you want variety of things. But yes, there is this underlying through line connection that brings everything together. If you can take something like Green Dusk Blues from the last records that we did, or Feral, and bring that to spiritual warfare, or whatever, there is still something, what I call it the bones of the mountain sound. It comes from like my interest in the blues and the very primitive sort of idea of that sort of physical, almost like visceral sort of music, and that coupled with the more classical side of my nature, the Debussy, Chopin, Beethoven, that sort of thing, and fusing that together in a manner that's honest with where I've always been, musically. I don't think I ever see myself writing like a disco hop head. That's not in me, but I'm I stay within the boundaries of all the things that I love. There is that connection, which I think is a metal connection. I grew up with bands like Zeppelin, Mountain, Black Sabbath, and whatnot, and all those blues guys, Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters, and that's all in there. And my goal has always been try to bring something new to the table, to the equation, and build on that foundation level that I learned very young, and try to bring those spires up into the beyond the mountains of the moon, and piercing the heavens, so to speak.
Oh, for sure. And you got to do that for yourself too. And that's why I keep bringing it up. I mean, it's just so great to hear like how excited you are to talk about the music, because you are making what you want to make. You're writing about what you want to write about, and you're playing what you want to play. And with it being so hard for some people to be able to do that, they feel like they need to be stuck in one particular style or one particular way. Virgin Steel proves that you don't need to do that. And I hope that that inspires more people to write the music that they want to write.
I hope so as well. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to be in jail, so to speak, musically speaking. I don't think Led Zeppelin stayed in one box, or between. They all did different things, and we learned from that. And I specifically learned from that. And I've always tried to bring that ideology in, because I think it's more honest. I think if I sat there and said, okay, I'm going to do a Noble Savage Part 5 or whatever, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be honest. And the last thing I want to do when I'm cutting a vocal is not be honest. It's got to be relevant to who I am in my skin at this juncture of life. Always. That's it.
Oh, definitely. So, also thinking about it from that perspective as well, too. A couple singles have been released from the album so far. How hard is it for you to decide what songs are going to be shown off before the album release?
It was a little tricky. I wanted to say, all right, my goal was I didn't want something that's going to be so long. I wasn't going to put out, Ritual of the Ten first, even though it's a great song and I love it. But I wanted to put something that's representative of the record, that's got a little bit of the full on barbaric romantic metal thing that we do, the progressive classical edge, whatever you want to call it, and that would be understandable on the first or second listening to the listener. So I thought those made sense for in terms of length wise. I mean, they are over 7 minutes, both of them, but they aren't quite as long as some of the others. And they do indicate what the rest of the record is all about. So I had a few other thoughts as well. I was going to maybe go with I Will Fear No Man, for I Am a God, because that's really sort of heavy, and it's got that riff that people could latch onto. But then at the end of the day, I said, well, I mean, let me go with these, and I was going to maybe do Unio Mysticum, the girl with the grave deep eyes. I thought, well, maybe that's later. Maybe a video for that later after the album comes out. So yeah, so we arrived at this, and I think it was a wise choice thus far, because it's been working. So there it is.
Yeah, and I really like the style of presentation that they present as well too. Like I really like how the videos came out for them.
Oh, that's the Guts Ingo from SPV. Yeah, he did this. We just did another video for Gethsemane, the opening track, and that'll be released when the album comes out that week. It's more of
Oh,
like a performance slash still photos and other odd things going on kind of video clip. Yeah,
oh, that's so cool. I'm definitely gonna be looking forward to that when that comes out.
I think you'll enjoy it. It's exciting visually. There's a lot going on. Yeah, that's all I'll say. You'll get it.
Oh, for sure. And speaking of visually, the album cover in particular is very striking. Like it really grabs your attention, and I think it's a great representation for the album.
Thanks, man. Thanks. That's meant to be Dionysus, because some myths, some legends, he is hung on the tree, and on the tree being the cross, and the cross is an ancient symbol from the time before the moon, and what that represents is the a human body nailed to the four elements: earth, fire, water. Kind of the spear is nailed to that, bound to that, if you will, by the nails or by the chains of it. And when you die on the cross, you're said to be releasing yourself. You are dying to a baser, lower nature, and are reborn as a higher being. And in the rituals of ceremonies of Dionysus, the main high priest, which is called the Hierophant, would be symbolically crucified during those rituals. So that's what that represents. And also, I was looking at an ancient, very ancient amulet that has a dying God man on crucified, and it says etched into the metal there. It says Bacchus, Orpheus, which are other names for Dionysus. So that this would be interesting. And then that photo, I happen to own I happen to own a cross. So one day a friend of mine came over, and I was thinking, you fancy doing that picture? Yeah, so we did it, and it worked out. So there it is. That's the story of the album cover.
Oh yeah, and again, like it is so striking, and it fits so well with the themes, and it really grabs you in. And I imagine, like, if you check out the vinyl version of that, like how striking that'll really appear.
It looks really good, that big. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You hinted already that new music video will be coming out for the first track on the album when the album comes out. But with that already being 2 weeks from today, what are the plans after the album release going forward?
We will be doing a few more videos from the record, and I would like to, like, I don't know if you're aware, but we did these kind of movie documentary things. One about Seven Devils Moonshine box set, one about Gothic Voodoo anthems, and one about the Visions of Eden album. So there might be something like that for the Dionysus record. I did stock up some footage along the way for such an endeavor. So if I get a moment, I will do that. Also, we are actually in rehearsals now for gigs. We've got some dates lined up in Europe. We want to do some dates in the States. So gradually we're getting back into the live arena. And then we've also, while I was writing this Dionysus record, I was also writing what's going to be the album after that. And we've actually started recording that, and it's about maybe 50% tracked, possibly 40, 50%. Yeah, there's still work to do. But that being said, that's like a double album's worth of stuff. So, and then I wrote another song cycle because I don't stop writing, so there's more material that I may say, okay, well, that works better for this next follow-up to Dionysus, that maybe I'll hold that other one back or whatever. So I'm not exactly sure fully what will be on that record, but I have a pretty good idea about 50, 60% of it.
Oh, that's so cool to hear. I'm glad to see that creativity and that songwriting is still flowing through, and I'm also so glad to hear that the live shows are coming back as well
Yeah.
too. I mean, for everyone in the world, it got taken away from us, and now seeing bands are starting to come back around, and now Virgin Steel is going to be coming back and playing some shows across the seas and back over here too. That's just so great to hear.
Yeah. Where are you located?
I am in Minnesota.
Okay, okay, okay. We've never been there, but hopefully we will.
So, thinking about that, I mean, what's that like to get back into the rehearsal mindsets and like putting together the set list and getting everything prepared in the live form?
I really enjoy that. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with everybody. We're working up stuff from a bit of something from each record. So it's going to be we probably have enough material already to play like 3 hours or more. So these rehearsals have been going on like 5 hours, 6 hours sometimes because we're trying to get to everything, and we are exploring the catalog. And every few days I'll think about, well, we should maybe try this one and see if it works. Sometimes like you'll do a song 1 month or 1 year and it's not working, then you put it away. But then 6 months, a year later, you try again. Oh, it's working now. So you bring that back in the set, and you see where it's going to go. But like I said, we are exploring a bit of everything. So when we do, if we do say in one area, say we're in your area, say for like 3 shows, it wouldn't be the exact same show every night. We'd be able to break it up, do different things each night, so it wouldn't be the same exact set list. I mean, the core stuff would be there, but then there would be other peripheral things that we would do from night to night. We're doing everything from spiritual warfare to even doing this. I don't know if you're familiar with the how familiar you are with the Nocturnes of Hellfire and Damnation album, but on that album, on the second disc, because that was actually 2 discs that not everybody knows about. Second disc, there's this massive 18-minute medley of the song Black Sabbath, DOA by Blood Rock, and some Zeppelin stuff and other things that I wrote. We're actually doing that now. So there's a lot of stuff that we're doing.
Oh, that'd be so cool to hear that in a live setting. And and speaking of everything that you're saying, I mean, I love the fact that you're rehearsing for so much music, and every time that anyone would get to see you on a particular show run, if you're making it to multiple shows, if you're able to make it to one show, it's going to be a different experience. And that's such a cool thing for the fans to get something different every time they go.
Yeah, I think so. And we've always done that. When we were doing lots and lots of gigging, we had like there was probably about a 70 song list that we could choose from. And some nights I would just we had a basic set and then I would just call them out. We're gonna do this next, we're gonna do that next. So somebody might have an idea. Hey Dave, what about this one? All right, launch, let's do it. And that was always really enjoyable. I love the spontaneity of a live show like that. I love improvising, and there's a lot of improvising that goes on in the Virgin Steel live show, and even on the records. I mean, even as much as I write things out and bring them into the studio, I still leave that window open for whatever might be flying through the room at that given moment when I'm laying down a vocal, or when a solo is up, or something of that nature. And that's what I really love about the blues and early Zeppelin and Sabbath and things of that nature. That element where not everything is worked out. You're still engaged. You're not on autopilot, because you can make a left turn, you can go right turn, you can go to somewhere really brilliant, or you could go somewhere really dreadful. That's the excitement of it.
Oh yeah, and that's all the excitement for the fan experience too, because I mean, especially the more that you know the band and the more that you go to see Virgin Steel, it's like you're wondering, it's like, is this gonna be a little faster tonight? Is this gonna be a little slower? Where's the improv section gonna be? Are they gonna play it straight ahead, or are they gonna expand the sound? And what songs are they gonna be doing? I mean, it just
Yeah,
makes it fun from beginning to end. I mean, if you're having that much fun on stage, that really shows off from the fan experience as well.
I think so. I think it does. Yeah, I love the idea of getting back to, like, if you go beyond, before Zeppelin, you had the Yardbirds with both Eric Clapton and Jeff Beck, and in their songs they would always have what they called the rave up section, where they would go out and they would improvise, and you never know what was going to go on. I like to take that idea. I took that idea into my writing, so that way, that's why the songs go to other dimensions. Like there'll be the basic idea, and then you leave. You go like, okay, we started from where we live. Then we went out to wherever we went to the Mediterranean, and we did whatever we did there, and then we came back. That same idea that goes into the songwriting goes into the arrangement of the whole set. So it's got that same through line again of where the mind is at within the songs themselves, and then within the overall show structure.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, it's so great to see that mentality is still going strong throughout the band. And again, just like I'm so excited to hear everything that's going on there. I mean, whether you're living out in Europe and you're hearing about this, and how excited you could be over there, because I know the fan base is huge over there in Europe, and of course, bringing it back over here to the States, and the possibility of the shows that can happen with that, and of course, with the new album, being able to promote that, and everything that comes along with that. There's so many great things that sounds like that's going on in the world of Virgin Steel right now, between new material after this album and the live shows. And it's just great to hear how excited you are. I can hear it in your voice how excited you are about all of this. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk about all of this. It was great to be
Thank
able
you.
to get that insights into what's going on right now and what to look forward to in the future.
Thank you, brother. I truly, truly appreciate that. Absolutely. I am excited. It's a very good time to be in Verdant Steel, and we're all feeling quite good, and it's a good chemistry with everyone, and I'm looking forward to going further with it. We actually might, getting back to the video thing, we may just film, this one day or one night, this massive set that we're putting together, and then have that out at some point as well, because I really want to document what we're doing as we're doing it. So that's on my mind, as well as everyone's getting more and more familiar with stuff. Like, we're still getting coming to grips with the new album material as well. It's one thing to record it, and it's one thing to then remember what all the bits when you're doing it live. So we're still working with that now, but it's coming along nicely.
Oh, and if you do decide to go on with that, I would love to see how that would come out. And of course, any of the behind the scenes stuff for this album cycle would be so cool to see, considering the fact that you've done that in the past. It's always been fun to watch. And yeah, again, just like everything that's going on in the world of Virgin Steel right now, it's just been so cool to learn about all that. And I just want to thank you again for taking the time to be able to talk to me about all of this. This has been a fantastic time being able to learn about all of this.
My pleasure, sir. I appreciate it greatly. Your enthusiasm as well. I hear it in your voice. So thanks again, and I hope we can see you out there, somewhere on the road.
Oh yeah, I mean, whether you hit my neck of the woods or you get somewhere within driving distance, I'd love to be able to catch a show and be able to see what Virgin Steel is like in the live setting. Because as great as it is on record, I just imagine how great it sounds in that live setting.
Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. I wish
Oh
you a
no,
beautiful, beautiful weekend.
you as well. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I hope you have a great weekend as well.
Thanks very much, Josh. Okay,
Uh,
take care.
you too. Bye.